It is recording.
In 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
We gotta sit over here now. Oh.
Time is now 6:30.
Oh, I don't
so we're
care.
gonna go ahead and get this started on time.
That's for
Hopefully-
people who wanna speak.
There we go. Now it's straight at
I
you. So you
know.
should be able to
Well, when we
pick
get
this
actually-
up in case anyone needs it. I'm sure you two gentlemen just can't hear me at all.
Yes,
but
we can.
That's okay.
Gentlemen.
So we'll open the meeting as we normally do with Pledge of Allegiance. Somebody walks in. I will let them finish walking in before we start the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Maybe see
All right, so we'll start with our normal roll call of board members. Dave Hemingway, chairperson.
Marlon Herrick. Steve Blake.
And we will move on to announcements and the project status update. And do we have any particular announcements?
Well, we have a few updates on White Plains.
Yes.
I'd like to, it's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
Waiting for that. And then, I guess during department heads, when I will tell about account payable.
Okay, sounds good. So the project status, and I'll just briefly flash this so that people can kind of see it, or at least the overview. Obviously, you can't read it from here. This is on our website, or from previous months will be very shortly. Russ puts them up each time that I do this for each month. So that's what I'm going over. So that will be starting off. Clothespin Bridge is on track still for the 2022 construction date, which is fiscal 2023. Continue communications with VHB being our next steps, and continues to happen. For the fee schedules that we're looking at, that is in progress. We hope to have a lot more of that on the end of September. Fee schedules are being researched and reviewed by Russ and the planning board, and then there will be a public hearing either from the planning board and or us when we look at that further. The salt shed is now, well, it was having the road set up by our road agent, which looks really good, by the way. But we are looking at boundary research, so there's a little bit more to be done there. We're still hoping to have the access completed by the end of the year, but there are some slight things that may delay that. I'll open up stuff in a second. For Town Hall, status is ongoing. And right now we have the LED emergency lights, the fire hood, and the water testings should be done by the end of this month. Upcoming, we have pavement quotes. We actually got the driveway permit from the state for being able to update the driveway here. Then we'll be going into also security, fixes for the various stairs and ramp, and then other external maintenance and ADA compliance. White Plains Bridge, we are waiting on the engineer. Expected completion as soon as we can possibly do so. The next step is for the engineer to provide DES application for us to sign. That was done once before the project changed, and she changed the design. So we are just waiting for that application to sign again. For town property sales, some have been completed and are back on the tax list. That's also ongoing. You'll hear about more of that during the meeting. Next steps will be public hearings and then merging the properties and placing properties up to bid. Deer Meadow Solar is still in progress. That's expected to happen in 2023. The next thing will be pilot agreement discussions and a recommendation from the subcommittee on that to the select board. Unfortunately, we did not have a quorum at the last meeting to fully go over that. So hopefully after this month, we'll hear about that. But for more information, attend a solar subcommittee meeting. Wetlands ordinance is in progress. That's expected to be a 2022 town vote. And so you'll hear about this each time. Next up would be a planning board public hearing about that, as it is part of the zoning ordinances. Concord Drive is in progress. Expected completion is still before school. Right now they're doing the water mains installs after Annett's done a lot of good work down there. For further information, ask the road agent, town admin, or Pillsbury Lake Village District. Contracts. We have contract negotiations that we're getting ready to start. Those are in progress. We expect that to be complete by the end of the year. We'll have board discussion tonight and then some negotiations most likely. Records retention. We've started that up. The initial decisions and meeting for that with the committee should be this month. And policy review, we have started. We hope to have that finished by the end of the year, with the board discussing that process tonight. And that's the update for the overall project statuses. Trying to keep it simple and quick so people know where to look. I will say that you had comments, so please.
I was gonna put the comment in on one of the items that you talked about, but I'll put the comment in on when I give my department head report.
All right. So that concludes the opening sections. We move on to appointments. White Plains project.
I did have some communication with the engineer today. She has gotten 2 quotes for culverts, one from Mitchie and one from someone else. Concrete Systems Incorporated. They are about $20,000 difference. Right now she is looking at them to make sure that we're talking apples and apples.
How long are the quotes good for?
Same thing. I don't see
Usually they're, yeah.
yeah,
it's
usually
at the
there's a
bottom or
date on it,
something,
but I
right?
just don't see it right now.
I mean, that'd be something to look into for sure, because
Yeah.
until DES signs off.
It says proposal date July 19 and bid date for some reason November 20 last year. So, I don't know what I mean. Okay.
And that's something that we could find out then.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got CSI and Minji. She's working on. She'd like to set up a time to meet with the board to review these and the wetlands permit. She has given me, would the board be available to meet next week sometime between Tuesday and Friday in the morning?
I'm going to be going on vacation. My only comment to that is, until DES signs off on any of these plans, we cannot order I would vote against ordering anything.
I understand.
Because well, and I've done a little research, and we would be, we already look a little silly 5 years into this, so we'd really look silly if we ordered culverts without a DES signature on the bottom line. And I mean, I'm hearing their turnaround time is, it's not gonna happen probably within the next month. But I mean, we can all hope. Maybe we'll slide right in. I don't know.
I only know what she's told me.
Right,
And
but
so-
I'm not feeling all that confident in what she, not feeling confident until I don't know how I don't want to say that I don't trust what she's saying. Careful what you say. She said this and she said that. And
Well, I think it's perfectly reasonable not to buy a $100,000 culvert until you know that you can use it.
Right. And I guess what I'm also saying is going over, and which is fine, I mean, I won't be here, but going over even the plans until she's, can get them submitted and DES comes back with what they're going to
Right.
say and not. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we can look at them all we want, but they're the ones that have the final say.
I asked her to be here tonight, but she could not come because I think it would be a lot easier if she just spoke with you directly.
Exactly.
So that you know. Now, she did ask if anyone was interested in attending a Zoom meeting with Tyler Davidson from DES. This is what she's told me, that she feels the permit can be expedited and be approved in 30 days.
Oh,
This is what she told me.
right. Only as good as the information we're given, right?
You know,
Yeah.
so, I mean, and I'm not saying that to be, you know,
Yeah.
but again, there you are.
I will say that for me, I would be happy to attend a Zoom meeting with that if it is likely to help us. However, I am not willing to do that or to do the discussion about the culverts until we have a DES application to sign and actually give them.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure, I think that
I
maybe
agree.
this meeting, I think she's meeting with Tyler. I don't think she's filled out the paperwork yet.
We've requested it. I know, when did we request that she show up with that for this meeting? I know we did.
It was last week, wasn't it?
Well, even I think longer than
Oh,
that.
maybe it was
Yeah,
after
I think,
last meeting.
yeah, a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
I think it was the last meeting. so-
Yeah.
Well, when we met down there, I insisted that we'd been waiting 5 years, and she said, oh, we're gonna get right on it. Well, her right on it's my right on, it's a long ways apart.
You know where I am then.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I still say, we gotta set some kind of deadlines. This is crazy. Yes, I mean, everybody's busy, everything's happening, but I know culverts are way out. I know, you know, the DES is, maybe she's got some pull with them. But
Well, I
I've been
have
doing a little
heard expedited
research.
approvals. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm
Right,
not that new,
right.
but-
But I know they're very, very, very busy, so that would be,
So the message I'm gonna give her back then is that when the application is ready to be signed by the board, you'll meet with her. Is that for just the Zoom meeting, or is that for the other meetings she would like to have?
So for me, it makes sense to then just have a meeting so we can sign it immediately and get it going. I don't know what the
No,
rest
you're
of the
right,
board
we can play
thinks,
this
but-
game all the time with Zoom.
Yeah.
But in person, it's a little harder to, make excuses in my book.
Well, and I have that ready for you, but you don't have it. Can't happen if it's in person.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if it's over Zoom, oh, I got it, but oh, you couldn't
Yeah,
read
right.
it, but I couldn't send it.
The meeting on Zoom is not with her. The meeting on Zoom is with Tyler Davidson from DES.
And what good is that, I mean, that's,
If we don't have an application, how does that help us?
they can see our faces, does that make a difference?
Well,
the beauty here is just amazing.
Yeah, right.
I interpreted it that she was going to go over the plan with Tyler and see if that's what he was looking for before she submitted That was my interpretation.
I still stand strong that until it's in there, and,
Okay.
yeah,
If she-
that's me.
if she
You're
wa-
right,
if
we've
she
been
wants to
playing,
have
5
the-
years we've been playing this game.
If she wants to have a meeting with him, just make sure it's what he wants in the application, then she should meet with him and do that, and then give us an application to sign.
Okay, all right. I understand. And so that's all I have on White Plains.
Can
Well,
I
do-
ask
yeah, and I
something?
have another comment, go ahead.
Why don't we have a bill from her, 5 years, and we
Mm.
don't even have a bill or any kind of pie in the sky? Is this, how
Do
do you
we have a budget from her?
No, and I've never seen a bill. And I've
Well, that's what you
and I've
said, I
asked
know, and it's like, oh, who does business, even I'm bad at billing, but I get them in between 5 years, really.
I don't want to get a bill for $400,000
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so do we speak about the fact that we need to say to her is, well, and did she give the town a budget for what her engineering costs would be for this project?
To be truthful, I will look through the file
Okay.
again to see if I see a preliminary budget. I don't recall seeing one, but I will ask her for one if I don't
Okay.
see one. And if I see one, I'll send it to her.
Yeah, if not, then we need to probably step up. I mean, we can't ever fix the past, we can just fix the present. And, we're to the point where we need to fix the present.
I think we're all
Otherwise-
really push this, you know.
Well, right, but if she's good, we don't know, I mean, I don't know, there again, you hate to make an opinion, and I think facts are very, very important, but what the facts show here is like Dee and Dave were saying, it's been a 5-year date, and we're here, and we still, she's talking about us ordering a culvert, and it's like, and you know, I've done road projects and different things, and spoke to a few people, and that's like insaneness, to be honest with you, because, you know, we can't read what DES is gonna say or do, and I can't even imagine doing it. And so I'm not quite sure why she said that we should. To me, that wasn't good advice, in a sense.
I wouldn't disagree. with
Yep,
that.
so we need to start, it needs to, either that or something's gonna change.
Well, when I was at that meeting at the bridge, our road agent was there too, and I kept saying something about in a hurry. Oh yeah, we'll get it right. Am I dreaming or is I correct? So,
Yeah, no, and we need to, you know, support the town in the sense that if she's not going to come to fruition to what, granted, I don't even know if we have a written proposal of what she should be doing, but there may be a time that we need to make a decision that, you know, and it may prolong the situation, but we have no evidence nor facts to show that this is gonna get done, to be honest. I mean, this is the fact that she doesn't give you a bill. I mean, like Dee says, I'm not the best at billing myself. But, you know, you something. I mean, we don't want anybody to do anything for nothing, but we want to hold people accountable for what they promise and they say, and right now that's not looking so good.
Well, usually you're billed in intervals.
Yeah.
yeah, something.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Up for it, so
So,
it is a little disconcerting.
yeah.
And we have those metal things, and I don't know how. I mean, whoever lent us that,
Right.
they gotta be angels. So I
Right.
mean, just to have that go, and they probably had other places to put that. those
And the
big
poor
seats.
people on the other side
Yeah.
of that, or this side, whatever
They have
side
to go
you're.
traffic-wise, the big
Yeah.
trucks and stuff.
So what would we do anything in the sense that, do we try to set some kind of deadline and say if this is not going to happen, then we need to look? I mean, I could get some information on get maybe some other quotes, but I'd like to give her a deadline of some kind. And we've tried, but I think we need to say either we have this by this time, or we're all done. But I don't know if there's a contract. I mean, I haven't done the
I don't-
proper research.
To be honest with you, I don't either, but
Okay.
I will.
But I mean,
Fine.
it's important. She should be here. I don't, you know, fine, you have a family life, so do we all, but, you know, this is money for her. She should be here.
And it's every meeting we've
Right,
asked
right,
her
you
to
ask,
come to,
right, every
and she's
time.
always not been able to.
What's that? I can't see that. Are you kidding me? I'm blind as a bat.
So-
Can I approach the bench you're on? This is on the downhill side, looking back out. This was after the storm. There's one of the plates, and you can't reach the bottom in underneath that. That's why them combs are out, and it's almost to the point. Do you shut it down? I did pack stuff down in there as a blood clot to get that all into place, but I mean, that was this big
Holy.
down
my
underneath,
God.
right up the side of one of them, this culvert on the Warner side, and it took some material to get it down in there. We did check it today, but that shows me that there's a hole in that pipe, and it's weakening it every day.
Oh, wow.
And that stuff I put in there on Friday morning after the storm could be gone right now. It was there this morning when I checked it, but
You know, that other rain.
there's the water going down the back side, and here's the water on the head wall. It was, you know, it was up there. So that, as we speak, that is getting weaker and weaker, and you can see there, that's the end of the plate.
Like, that
on-
somebody's letting us borrow, in a sense, right?
Well, a relationship that I have with some
Right.
folks that
But
have been
still.
real good.
Yeah, right.
And we do buy a lot of stuff from them in a year's time, and they're good people to work with, so, but that's what we're up against.
So,
And that's costing us more money because now, you know, I'm sure you have other things to do. Now you're playing with this that should have been gone years ago.
So,
so I'm gonna, cause, you know, what do you suggest that we do in the meantime? Because
Well,
we can talk about DES
I'm
signing
not-
it, the culvert's not gonna be ready, I mean, I've
I'm
talked
not
to,
an engineer, but it's going to heck in a handbasket
Yeah.
as we speak.
so when this happens, maybe you know a little bit about this, and I've, talked to a few other people, but when, and granted, some of this is our own, well, the
Yeah, just gotta let it go.
somebody's issue.
Be part of
that
the
create-
problem, be
right.
part of the solution, not the
Right,
problem.
so my
That's what
question
we're
to
doing.
you is, granted, we just had rain, like,
4.5
incredible.
inches.
Absolutely, and there's roads all over the state that have been, what does happen, are we able to get any help with that, even though we haven't repaired it? And if we did, how quickly can you give a solution to that problem?
I'm not sure if we can get any help with this because it's already a problem.
Right.
But, Rob is our emergency
Yes.
management person and he did reach out on me Friday. So if I did any work or did anything to
Okay.
take pictures, which,
Yeah.
it
So-
was minor.
And granted, all I'm saying is that might help us move up
It could.
on the
could.
totem pole, okay? So we may wanna look into, what we have to do from the emergency side of things.
Mhm.
Like you said, granted, it's a problem that already existed, but there again, who plans for 5 inches of rain?
Right.
You know, we had some driveways that we've even done that, yes, you know, your warranty part is out the window, cause we don't create the amount of water that comes all at once.
No, it's
So-
Mother Nature.
That's
it's
right.
Mother Nature, and she's gonna do what
Right.
she wants. So anyways, I just wanted to show you that while you guys were talking
Thank you,
about it.
I'm glad you took the
Thank you.
pictures and
But,
all that.
Yeah.
that, if them plates, them 1-inch plates weren't on there, the road would probably be would have been shut down that day. And it's,
Wow.
It's gonna be down to 1 lane shortly.
So do you, how does that work? I'm a little new to that. How does it work if there is some, like, do we contact Rob and then he puts in, does something to like even see if we can get moved up on the totem pole?
Oh, I don't know about this project because it's already started.
Right.
And it's already failed. I don't know if they'll come in and,
Right.
I'm not up to date on that stuff.
So how do we go about that?
As far as.
Well, asking the question, because again, yes, we know we had a problem.
Are you talking about DES?
That's
as far
right,
as
DES
getting
moving
approved?
up on that approval, moving up with, box culverts that are, I don't know.
You can apply to DES under an emergency situation.
Right, and then,
Get expedited.
Okay.
so, but
Return.
But today is the 2nd of August, and then you wait 30 days for DES, and then you wait another whatever's, and then you're into fall rains again, and, we're
It's not
running.
gonna be pretty.
No, we're running out of time, and
But I think our biggest problem is gonna be getting to the box culvert at this point. Even if DES sat here and said, no problem, we'll sign everything you got in front of you, that's what I would be afraid of.
hemlock logs and whittle yourself out a bridge.
Yeah.
That's probably better.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to that, but sometimes, yeah.
Covered bridge would be great.
So what do we do, kids?
I guess the question would be, do we actually want to try and set an ultimatum or drop dead date for the contracts? And I think in order to do that, we need to know what agreement may or may not exist or contract may or may not exist.
Mhm.
So I think we just ask Dana to look into it and let us know, and then we can.
And I would say even before the next selectmen's meeting, we
Oh, I'll
should
let
know.
you- I'll
Yeah.
do it right away.
Yeah, and then what happens if we wanna try to, move on it? I mean, do we,
I would be in favor of also saying that if we don't have that by the next meeting, we'll look for something, whether or not the contract says that there's something else. It doesn't mean we will drop the contract.
No, right.
But definitely, I think it would behoove us to start looking if we don't have that information.
I think the history in it would be good anyways, to see if there was other quotes besides that engineer.
I will do that work.
Okay. And I don't think I think it's something we all have to move on quickly.
Mhm.
And granted, we may get a wall you run right into, but at least we're doing what we can do,
Right.
then, to move this forward.
Sitting and waiting for her to do anything.
Well, you guys have, even you guys meeting out there, that was, I mean, not that you wouldn't, it's not, but that's a step above. Like, okay, what do you need us to do as a town? We'll step in and call whoever, meet with whoever, do whatever,
And I told her, well, if we could get something, the selectmen could get to sign it, we'd be here in the morning.
right.
And the thing that ticked me off in a way is what was holding this back was something, she had to have somebody, the Austin people sign the paper, and now she said, well, they decided to move it a little so we don't have to deal with the Austin people. Why didn't they do this 3 years ago or 4? I mean, and of course the Austin people are who have to sign it. One lives in town, but whoever's in charge is somewhere on an island someplace. But why didn't she figure this out? I just can't believe we're wasting time for one silly thing.
Well, and why impact more people than you have to?
Yeah, well, right, exactly. I couldn't believe when she said that. I think my mom looked kind of stupid with her mouth open, but it's just, you know, look around and do something different. Use your constructive brain or something.
So
Common sense.
as much as there is obvious frustration from everyone, myself included, I think we should move on since I
Yeah.
don't think we can actually do anything more with this right now.
I was just making sure there wasn't something we needed to
Yeah.
vote on so that you had the liberty to do what you had to do to get this,
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, I was just thinking.
So that brings us on to our second and last appointment, which is department head reports. So come on down, gentlemen. Tell us what you think.
We'd like to say this is the
What
price,
we
right?
think?
But
We
there's,
can't tell you what we think, we lose that job.
there will be no prize at the end of this, walking down the aisle, so. Just so you know.
I'm not gonna wear white anyway.
No.
Who would like to go first? It doesn't matter, I will. Go for it. We had 4.5 inches of rain last Thursday. The town really fared it well. The Mutton Road, a couple of culverts went over. That's a scenic road that doesn't get the attention that it needs with the ditches because everybody gets, has their feelings, how they want to have the road. I really think we were going to do this 2 or 3 years ago, but I can't do any major work on that road without the planning board and the selectmen's blessing. So I really think some Saturday morning or something, we need to go for a walk and get that straightened out. Pond Hill on the emergency lane, took it real hard. Jerry Buckley called in the spring about the turnouts that I made a few years ago up there had gone because of the vehicles traveling through there during mud season. And then it rained and rained and rained, so you just go up there and make more mud. So that didn't get addressed, but from the prior board, before I did any work on an emergency lane, I needed to come to the selectmen. We have a new board now, does that still hold? Do you still want me to do that? Or Clough and Sandman, I fixed Clough and Sandman last summer, and that started it all, the backside. But we had 4.5 inches of rain. We had 11 inches of rain last month, measured in Concord. The backside of Clough and Sanborn Hill is there. It hasn't moved, and I'm proud of what we did and how we kept it. Down to George Neville's driveway, every time it rained, you had to go over there and spend money. 11 inches of rain this month. We haven't been over there once. The ditches and the culverts, they pay off. So
what are you asking?
well, after I did the work on Clough and Sandman, the chair of the board told me at a meeting not to do any more work on emergency lane without coming through the board of selectmen first. correct?
I believe that was.
Behind, yeah. I
And what was the
remember.
reason
And it was
behind
not
that?
me.
What was the reason behind that? Was there I just,
Some people liked it and some people didn't.
Okay.
She had one complaint that somebody didn't like what I had done.
I
And
believe the short version of that would be that some people believed money should not be spent on only emergency lanes. That is road money. And I think that was compounded by a fear of budgetary issues because of the pandemic, which culminated into don't do anything without checking into the road first. That's my guess on the reason for it. I was there when it was asked, but I don't know what the full reason is.
how does that fit into like your budget of doing different things? I mean, granted, I know that's kind of, that's like an open-ended question, and I get that. I'm trying to understand why we, because once something washes away, to put something back, it's
right.
way more costly.
But it's like right now, back a few years back, they engineered the backside of Pond Hill and we went up and put all the turnouts out.
Yep.
Because the water was going down the Class 6 road right in and filling the boat launch up on Lake Winnipocket, so, I mean, that's a no-no.
Right.
So that's doing that again. So it's a no-no, so who's gonna get in trouble? I mean.
Liability-wise, it's the town.
Right, so it needs to be addressed. It should have been addressed last summer or maybe the summer before, but, I mean, it is money, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than what you get for fine.
Well, and we could probably also make the comment of all the work that you have done with all the ditching, that could be in a lot worse shape. Is there any emergency funds for something like Pond Hill? Is that another Rob question?
Well, that we might be able to recoup some stuff there.
I mean, you know what I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt to ask, right?
Right.
How do we go about doing that?
Well, I just got to appeal.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Rob just said before I did anything was to take pictures,
Yep.
before and after, and of course I turned the bills into Dana, and
Usually what would happen is that you would tally up the dollar amount of damage.
Okay.
So in other words, this would be after the fact that you would be applying for this.
Meaning after if we agreed to say, hey, go fix that, so our liability isn't there, you add up where we, pictures taken,
You would
of
have
course.
had to spend it.
Yeah.
And then, if it was a FEMA declaration, you have to have a certain amount of money throughout the state to apply for disaster, for the president to declare a disaster. And then,
Throughout the
FEMA
state, so it doesn't matter what region or district you're in.
Usually it would be
Merrimack County.
sometimes it
county.
is just a district. And then FEMA would come in. This is a very slow process.
Yep.
FEMA would come in and go over the work that was done. Usually, in an emergency situation, you have to do the work. There have been times when you haven't had to do it so they see it. But I guess the point I'm making is it is not a quick process.
Right. Nothing in government's quick.
No.
Yeah.
So that's all I know, and I think that's what Rob asked Emma to keep track of
Right.
what was happening.
Yeah, and I actually, spoke with Rob, and he said, do you need, and, I want to know if you see anything that's, and, I'm kind of new at this, like, when I see disasters, I don't think of, the town and the liability, but that's a big part of what we're talking about right here, right?
Overall, we fared it pretty well.
Well, that's what I'm
because of
saying.
The maintenance has already been done to the roads.
So if we hadn't spent the money ditching, taking care of what you took care of, not you,
Wow.
and or the town, there could be a lot worse
Correct.
situations happening right now.
Well, you see that on TV where the road's,
Well, yeah.
the road just falls apart and tar and all that.
Even where we had, big culverts, to go over on the other side of the pit, and then that water went over. I'm surprised it didn't go over right before our mailbox. It's amazing, cause that's happened before too.
Yeah,
But-
it did go over the road, the water did go over the road at the Warner Town line, the big culvert there. It wasn't
Yeah.
because it was plugged. It's just 3 or 4 great big beaver dams up in there, and it was just coming down in the middle of the night. It started, and then it just came, because we checked things through the night.
Yeah, but it came
And,
out.
It did, so that's that.
So are you asking for us, are you asking us to look into, possibly giving you permission to spend money on Pond Hill?
Well, if
Is
we
that what
don't
you're
do it,
asking?
if that's why we declared that emergency lane, to keep the silk and the dirt and the nasties out of Winnapocket
Yeah.
Lake. And right now, when it rains again, the road's a brook bed again, the crown is gone, and the only way you're gonna hold the road is the crown with a ditch. And, every time it rains now,
It'll get a lot worse.
it's
Yeah.
gonna get worse, and it's going right in, it's a bobsled run right into your lake again.
So, with that being said, do you have like a little bit of a budgetary number of what you think it would cost to repair it, in a sense, to get the ditches right and all that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a couple of days with the excavator, because you gotta start all the way up top at Jerry's at the slope again, and put all them back into place, and come back down through, and then it's gonna take some gravel. Yeah.
You gravel the ditches too when you do that, you gravel the
No,
ditches?
dear, we pull the dirt out of the ditches in
Okay.
front of the culverts and bring that back into the road. And, the best thing to do up there is, when you put the gravel back into it, is put the vibrating roll to it, and then it really stays compacted. 'Cause that is,
Good deal.
that's gotta be that's gotta be a 10, 8, it's a good grade.
Oh, yeah,
going
it's
up
at
in
least
there.
10%,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So,
And that, I mean, the rule of thumb is you don't run water over 100 feet, because after 100 feet, it's just out of control, so it's gotta go somewhere, or other than that, you're just asking for trouble.
So it sounds like we've got kind of 3 things that we're talking about here. One is funding for something, which I think
Right, well, couldn't-
is kind of ancillary here, because we
what's
have to
ancillary mean?
do it. It's like secondary.
Oh, okay, like that's not
Yeah.
even really.
It's kind of off
an
the
issue,
side of
okay.
it, because whether the funding is out of our budgets, or whether it gets reimbursed through FEMA, or whether it can be part of the infrastructure type grants that we can look for. It's great if we can get it, but it sounds like we're probably gonna have to spend it anyway. So that's the funding aspect. And then that boils down to, we've got this project which either we say yes to or not. And I think it'd probably be silly for us not to, but we'll get to that in a second. And then the last portion there is the reason why we're in this position, which is I don't think there's anything written for it, but basically telling you that don't maintain the emergency roads without talking to us, emergency lanes.
Not letting him do his job.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think those are the 3 different topics we have. And so I think the first thing, just to get it out of the way, is for this particular project, does the board think that we should have Emmett go forward with this and take care of this situation on Hill?
I would think so. He knows more about it than we do, yeah, and I do anyway.
So,
Yeah.
So there you go, the board agrees that you should take care of it. I don't think we need a motion, because I don't think we have anything official to start with, for saying not to. And so now, let's move forward to the second part of that discussion, which is, do we want Emmett to continue to come to us each time that he is thinking that he needs to do some work on an emergency lane? Or
Is there other emergency lanes he has to come to us, or is it just Pond Hill? And I don't know,
It was all of them.
Any emergency lane.
It was made clear that it was all of them.
And we did add an emergency lane, not that long ago.
Chadwick Hill.
Chadwick Hill.
Chadwick Hill is an emergency lane, down to the pump site where Karen King lives,
Mhm.
Old Route 127.
Yeah.
Is an emergency
Oh, that's
lane.
right. Oh, no, it's called that.
The backside of Clough and Salmon is an emergency lane, and the backside of Pond Hill, is an emergency lane. There's 4 emergency lanes.
So what would the point be to have an emergency lane if you can't pass through an emergency lane?
Oh, you mean, I don't know how that all works up.
No, but isn't that why it's called an emergency lane? If you need to get down to something, get through something, that's why we have emergency
Correct.
lanes, right?
Correct.
So we, as a town, decide that we're gonna have these 3 emergency lanes, but they're not passable, that doesn't make sense to me. Am I missing it?
Yeah, right,
Not
because
really.
you're stuck, then
Okay.
you're stuck.
I just make it, sometimes, you know, I'm maybe a little slow, so I didn't, yeah.
I think there's,
I mean, granted, we don't want them to go pave it.
right.
I'm kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm kidding.
It's a good point.
I think some of the
Mine was
past,
first, I'm just kidding.
I think some of the past discussion was for upgrades or improvements that may make it too passable. Or, for example,
Sure.
with water drainage that, well, it's probably a good idea to do it, but we don't really have to do it right now, and it's passable, so don't spend the money. I think that's where the concept of this came from. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt on that for everyone's sake. But what do we think at this point? Do you think that we should be requesting that Emmett come to us each time and that we have a quick enough turnaround time to do that? Or do you think we should just be letting him do it, or as long as he's not like upgrading a road beyond where it originally was for the emergency lane, or what do you think?
That was really well put.
Like an emergency lane, every 2 or 3 years, you gotta go dress it up. It's
Yeah.
not something you're gonna go over and do whatever. And I have no problem if we're gonna do something major, like the Mutton Road or the scenic roads, I have to talk to the board before I do, other than just everyday maintenance. And I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But in the middle of the night, when it's raining and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff's going to heck, and you see it going to heck, and you can fix it for $5, but you don't, because, well, I gotta call the select board, because
Well, and then it
whatever,
costs a lot more money
then at
most
the
of
end
the
of the
time.
day, it costs money. I'm not saying that it,
You're not gonna go hog wild with money. on scenic
That's why we were
roads.
kidding, you know, you're not gonna pave it tomorrow. So do we have to make a motion to?
I think we just have to have an agreement on how.
you know, I don't think they made a motion to tell me not to do it. I just,
Well, I agree that otherwise I don't know why we call it an emergency lane if you can't travel down it.
Yeah, no, that's.
You might wanna call it a no enter lane.
So, no, I mean, Emmett's the man that knows the roads. I mean, I know roads, but not like he does, so I just
so,
assume.
well, thank you.
So I would say that the board is in agreement that you should be able to maintain emergency lanes to the point of the emergency lane.
So, Concord Drive, the status on Concord Drive, we went down there for 2 weeks. Well, there was one rock right after another, and there was some great big rocks, and then there's some ledge that's still in there. They will be down there tomorrow. We got the same pounder that you had. And they were breaking rocks in the pit Friday and today, and the pounder will be down there for the rest of the week, getting rid of them big rocks, because you gotta be able to pick them up and put them in the back of the truck to haul them off. Some people like them for lawn ornaments and some people don't. So the water company started putting water lines down today. Nice folks. Jeff, the guy that I deal with, nice young man. The engineer, fantastic. Everybody involved down there has been upfront in communication and project's going well.
Good.
I talked to GMI today, set up some paving in October. When they get done putting their water pipe in, we will go in and gravel the road. A foot of gravel down through there is gonna be about 1,400 yards. That's 110 truckloads. But one place coming out through between Franklin Pierce and Webster Lane, there was 6 inches of beach sand right over the stumps and the loam and whatever's the rod and stuff. So that section took 2 days to do versus 3 hours because everything that came out had to come back in.
You got rid of the unsuitable materials.
Right, unstable ground.
That's right, because if you go do that, that's not so good if you leave that there.
Everybody
We'll
wants
be
a
back.
little sinkhole.
Yeah, right.
Sinkhole, yeah.
In places, we're gonna raise that road up, so, yeah, it's gonna be nice. And the majority of the folks down on that end of town have been pleased and thankful.
Did you get a lot of water damage with all that rain down there, what you were doing?
No, where we left the road, because I didn't want to put a lot of good gravel back in the road.
Yeah.
We just put enough in it so to be able to get it smooth for the night. Because when they come back out through to put the water line in, there's no sense in,
Yeah,
spending
right.
good money and then just burying it deep.
Yeah.
So, it did have some valleys, that filled up with water, but it leached all
Basically,
good.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
And to Emmett's point, normally I'm not going to bring up Facebook stuff all the time, but posted by Joe down there was, I would like to take a few moments to express my appreciation for the great job that Emmett and his workers are doing at Concord Drive. They work every day, no matter what type of weather they have that day. I'm amazed by the size of the rocks. They're being removed from the ground, and the new road will surely be very nice. Good job, fellows. Thank you for your
Oh, that's
service.
nice.
And that has lots and lots of likes on it as well from other folks down in the Pillsbury Lake groups. So
I'll tell you, when I deliver newspapers, because I'm always looking at, I don't know how they put houses in all those rocks. It's a big rock pile. I mean, really, it's amazing.
So other than some of the back dirt roads that are getting potholed out from the 11 inches of rain that we've had in the last month, we're gonna give it a day. So it's nice to grade a road when it's got a little moisture to it, but not a whole lot, and so it lays back down in good. So we will be out getting some of them chat holes gone.
Speed bumps.
Speed bumps.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Just kidding.
So I guess, we cold patched the bridge back in the other morning, and then after the rain,
Yeah.
4 inches of rain, there is some around that will get addressed come the end of the week.
And what are you gonna do about what, you put some material in down on West Plains?
Yeah, but you have to check it daily, sometimes twice, because there's things
watched it,
happening
yeah.
underneath there.
I don't think we talked about it.
So,
What
I
your
probably
protocol
should put
was.
some signs up and comb that off to a 1-lane road over.
See what it looks like.
It's,
Your decision, you're the man.
well, it is and it isn't. But
I don't want
think-
anybody going over.
Right, I don't want anybody getting hurt.
Right, exactly. Either does the town. So,
as much as everybody is going to want to keep that as open as possible,
Yeah,
I would be in favor of letting the police chief and our road agent make the decision on whether the bridge is safe to be 2 lanes or has to go down to 1.
oh, I agree.
What do you guys think on that idea?
Yeah, and
I
I
agree.
really, I don't think that's gonna mess anybody up anyways.
No.
It's not like you're talking 127.
That's right, as long as the signage is up, if he thinks it should be a 1-lane road, let's make it a 1-lane road.
Well, it's pretty weak on that, but you saw that.
Yeah.
So,
So we know it's not gonna be any road, we don't have
Yeah.
that, wow.
right,
Jesus.
And there'll be
One
no
lane,
further.
a walk path.
Yep.
and maybe we should've got another couple inches, and if it did go down Brook, and at least we didn't have to. So, that's good with the highway stuff, unless you folks have anything else.
Doing a good job, that's it.
We'll, yeah, you don't need to see the sun, I've got what picture.
Obviously Concord Road has been taking most of your time and continues to at this point. What is the next kind of major project that you see going forward? Is that now Pond Hill, or is it another?
Well, Pond Hill will be a couple of days, 2-3 days over to Pond Hill. Let's see, it's August, September, October. We still have 3 good months of work. Weather, because we're used to working in the rain now.
Right? Aren't we all?
I still want to do that little project between Dingett's Corner and Corn Hill and Deer Meadow
Yep.
and ditch out behind the lake, New Hampshire Drive, Franklin Pearson, New Hampshire Drive. I want to get that ditched, and then out back of New Hampshire Drive where it goes down into the dip. There's a culvert that we changed, but there's not enough cover over that. I want to raise that road up some there, just before where it turns to dirt. The address is 127, back this way. We did talk about doing another major project when you come out of Concord Drive towards Concord, down towards Cedar Mill Group, but I probably will leave that alone, because if the White Plains Bridge all of a sudden comes, I don't want to be caught with whatever's.
Two major projects
Right.
at the same time.
So, and do some of the smaller stuff, and then, I mean, I could stop doing all the town work today and go get my private stuff done, but because that's backing up, but my town stuff comes first, so,
I know it was either a year or 2 years ago, one of the projects that you were looking forward to getting towards was a drainage thing for Pleasant Street. How has that been faring with the current weather, and is that something we need to get
take
to
the broom
sooner
down there
rather
every
than
time,
later?
take this tractor with a sweeper down there every time from down there and get everything out of the road, so you can get up through there, or a motorcycle, because it's deep.
It's steep, yeah.
Yeah, the water just whatever's. Yeah, no, that's still in the workings, but when Mike Borak and I looked at that project way back, and I put that all together, and we had the committees and all the stuff, and they talked about underground drainage and all that, but, and I did as well, but if you have underground drainage, you've got to maintain it, you've got to take care of it, you've got to pump it. And I think now if we just raise that road up the way it should be, get it up, then the water can't get on it. It's going to be cheaper. The road needs quite a bit of attention down through there anyways, so I mean that's in the plan, but I mean there's only so much.
Right.
But it's still in the CIP plan. That and Detour Road, because Detour Road it's all ledge beside the road. I mean the water did ferret all the way to the bottom of the hill, and then it started gouging just before Dee's land on the other side of the
And
road.
then it ends up on my land.
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
and
It comes-
I'm swimming. Yes, I
It comes
am.
right across there, but that's the case of
Well, and
the
at
stone
least
walls are here and the
Oh, yeah.
road's here, and
and at least the end of that will be getting redone as part of the clothespin bridge
Yeah.
rework anyway, so.
so, and I would rather, if I had time in the fall, instead of doing out towards Concord, from Concord Drive to Cedar Mill Group, from Dingett's Corner at Roy Fanjoy's up through there, that great big pine, and them rocks, get in there with that pounder and break that out. So when we do that bridge project, that's gonna be well-traveled, and kind of do a little bit down there to make it safer, because there's a real blind spot up on that, up the street. And you could fix that and be one step ahead of the bridge coming to town. I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
The bridge is on schedule.
Oh, it is. So that's what I have for plans for, but it all could change tomorrow if we get another 8 inches of rain.
Yes, they told.
That sounds good.
Better rain than fires like in California.
Oh, unreal. In the smoke last week?
Oh, I know, it's burning my eyes. That's crazy, you wouldn't think you'd be doing anything like that, coming 3,000 miles.
Speaking of fire.
Okay.
Let it rip.
Last Saturday morning, I went to the fire academy, and 2 of our young men that just finished their firefighter 1 graduated, and Suze and I went down and sat through that for them 2 young men. 2 young ladies just finished up their EMT class, so they'll be working with us as EMTs. One of the young men that just finished his firefighter 1, I signed the papers today so he can go into a firefighter 2 class. I have 2 other gentlemen that are going to sign up for the EMTR. Pretty sure I'm doing that right. It's a basic class, so you can run the ambulance and do all that stuff. That's going to be in the workings. The trucks are all going over to Charlie Brothers for inspection. The tanker went today. Inspection, oil changes, filters, and whatever they need to pass inspection. The MSAs, that's the breathing apparatus. They're coming Wednesday at 8 o'clock to do the certifications. They get done once a year for the flow test and to keep the personnel safe. And so that happens Wednesday. Old Home Days coming around the corner, so we talked about that at the fire meeting the other night. So folks are going to put fire trucks in the parade, if that's fine with you folks.
Hammond, are you going up to that muster and fireman's muster and cemetery?
I would really like to, but
It used to be so much fun. I remember when I was in Old Home Day running that. We used to have here. That was fun.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't say we, as the Webster Firehouse, have 2 members on our firehouse that are they're on the Salisbury Firehouse as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. It works well. Chief McDuffie's an awesome guy up there, and we work close together. But no, I'd like to. It seems like a lot of fun, but I don't want to promise myself. So in November, they asked if they could host the Forest Fire Wardens meeting at our station.
Oh, nice.
Well, we do that once a year, usually in November, but I have to ask the select board for permission when I use the firehouse other than our own training. So, and then the firehouse, I've been working with Dave Richardson, and they would like to hold their chicken barbecue there. We let them do that last year, the drive-through like we did through the church.
The church, yeah.
And we'd like to do that in October if that can work. I've already talked to the police chief and Phil, and they're all good with that.
Absolutely.
So we have both the church meeting and the fire wardens. Anybody on the board object to either one?
No.
Not a bit.
All right,
It's-
good.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
We thank you.
so that's,
That's a lot.
Phil's changing the lock on the chief's office door.
Oh, thank God. Just kidding, I don't.
Me too, me too.
We gotta
Let's
keep
see
that
what
Steve
else.
guy out.
So, there'll be a fire truck out of town each day this week. There's a young man that lives in town that's on our fire department, Brandon Kaya, and he works at Charlie Brothers, and so he takes them over in the morning and brings them back
That's
at night.
convenient.
Well, it saves me and
Oh, yeah.
or somebody else a lot of running around.
Thank
So,
him for us.
Yeah, we have a lot of good people there at the firehouse that put a lot of energy into things. I didn't bring the quote. Phil gave me the quote this morning from the cameras that we were talking about at the fire station. We thought it was gonna be a lot more, it's like $4,000 something dollars for the setup, so it was quite a bit cheaper than what we talked about.
So that's like having a camera looking outside and like inside and. What-
Yeah, in the truck bays and, different things. We did,
So it's like security cameras.
it is,
type.
it is. I mean, there's a lot of money in that firehouse and, with a lot of things that go on. And we had a meeting with Dana and Russell the other day with everybody that's involved with the department heads the other day. And, that went well. It's kind of neat to get together once a month and go over things. And so thank you, Dana, for doing that.
Helps me a lot. I thank you.
So, I've got that record worn out.
Well, I'll re-wear out one section of it. Are we still on track requesting the fire engine stuff? Or we're just waiting on them, right? Because they're engineering it?
Yes, and I called last week and left a message, and because he was supposed to email me some stuff, and told him that I had a select board meeting tonight, and I knew I'd be asked.
Didn't want to let you down.
No, and I do, and no, it's work in progress. It's just, like I told you before, I threw the monkey wrench into the thing because I'm trying to get a better product for the same price, something that's gonna be able to, last another 5
I
years.
just don't want it to end up getting forgotten.
No,
like it
no,
was
it's, no.
Previous boards.
No,
did, so.
no, it's not forgotten. It won't be forgotten when you sign that check.
This is true. All right, any other questions for Emmett before we move on to Steve?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
folks.
thank you.
Police chief. the floor is
I'll make
yours.
mine short and sweet.
I'm
So
sorry.
we worked. Anything else?
Did you do your job? Oh, good. Yay,
That's it.
thanks.
Yeah, we wrote a few tickets. So my budget, I have $129,380 and 10 cents left remaining. That's 43.65% of my budget left. So we're really on track. I have no problem with that. July 1st to the 31st, we conducted 104 more vehicle stops, gave out over $1,000 in fines, 93 warnings, 11 summonses. And it sounds like a lot more warnings than summonses because a lot of times we stop them for 10, 12 miles an hour over the limit, just to tell them you need to slow down, or maybe an inspection or something like that. Usually it's 1 or 2 days over, go get it inspected. You should have had it done, but sometimes a warning is rather than a ticket. 6 arrests, 12 charges on the 6 arrests. It's funny because most of our arrests in the last 4 or 5 months have been all drug related. This was almost all motor vehicle related, 1 drug charge. The rest were 3 DWIs. And speed 25 miles an hour over the limit right on Battle Street. So that was pretty hefty one for him. Gonna be a good find. And if you look at the Concord patch, you'll see all the charges that they bring forward to the people in Concord. We have the exact same charges here. I mean, it's criminal mischief, domestics. We had a bad domestic with a deadly weapon. He's in jail now, thank God.
People don't think those things happen in little towns. I've heard
You
that
know,
all
a
the
lot of
time.
times it happens in little towns because people are in the little towns. They live here, but they work elsewhere, and they come from the city. I mean, we get a lot of overflow from Concord. A lot of travel through, heading to Keene, and that way, so we do have a lot of traffic. We handle 80 calls outside of the motor vehicle work and criminal. Dog licenses, issued a number of fines for those. Assisted the fire department a number of times. Domestic calls, motor vehicle complaints, one lost person that we found. Worked out pretty good. Burglar alarms, no burglaries. Basically, that was it. Jordan is out on maternity leave. His wife went into labor on Friday. They did an emergency C-section. Hopefully that's not too much to say. And had a baby boy, 9 pounds, 2 ounces,
Wow.
22 inches long, and mother and baby are doing great.
He was ready to come
not
out.
so good.
Yeah, all right.
So he's going to be out until next week. But other than that, things are pretty quiet.
Should we think of giving some kind of a little gift? Is that? Oh.
I think if we were drinking things like that, we should talk about it in the non-public, so that
Okay.
it's not obvious to him.
Because he does watch this.
Oh, he does, oh.
Jordan, if you're
Congratulations.
busy, we take it back. No.
You said a little gift. A real little gift.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Couple close.
Maybe just a picture of the three of
Month
us.
vacation.
Congratulations, though.
Month vacation.
Something.
Yeah, what's
What a lovely idea.
A pacifier for Jordan. Keep him quiet.
All right, so, anything else?
We're good.
All right.
Emmett, did you have something you wanted to say, though? It looked like he.
Well,
sparked
he
you
did, and I took right off and I had them set right out on the table.
Okay.
Sue's had all that stuff right there, and I took off and
Uh-huh.
I went to the fire station, and when he said that, his budget
Budget.
stuff, because so I apologize.
I have one more thing to add. So I know there was a big controversy about the road going behind the police station and safety building. So we had 11 inches of rain. He roughed in the road. That road is not washed out with nobody touching it. I drove my cruiser up in and out of there, and it's as smooth as any of the other roads in town. And no drainage problems, no nothing. And it's just a roughed-in road. It's not even close to be completed. So I don't think we're going to have a water problem back there the way he maintains the roads.
Well, that's good.
Thank
Did a great
Thank
job.
Thank you.
Can I ask you, the money we take in fines and stuff, we don't keep that, do we?
No, we don't get it.
Give it to the state.
It all
Oh,
goes to
really?
the state of New Hampshire
Yeah.
to pay for the courts, pay into the jails, pay for highway and safety. All them funds go into that.
So you're just kind of working for state,
Right.
technically.
The
Jeez.
only funds that come back to us are town ordinances that we write summonses for, dog summonses, things like that.
Yeah,
The weight limit on the
Overweight.
bridge.
Yep, weight limit. We've had a few of those.
Mid-season weight limits.
yeah.
Parking in
Thank
the
you.
road in the winter when I can't plow my snow.
Those go to us.
All right. Did you?
No, we have been busy, but I looked it up today on the chart. As of August 2nd to 2020 to August 2nd, 2021, we're right to call today. Just right where we were last year. It couldn't be any it's,
Isn't it crazy
it's,
how that happens sometimes? Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't make
we're at
this stuff up, I bet.
129 calls, and that's right where we were a year ago at this date, was 129 calls.
That's something.
So I went back through the files, because something, and I noticed that, so I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
All right, finance.
Yes,
Thank you.
I spoke with at the department head meeting last week about the grant opportunity, and I asked department heads to think of what types of projects that might be eligible under this Gopher grant that's coming up. And it seems to be an evolving grant. The planning commission reached out to Russ on Friday, and I talked with them today regarding applying for the funds. We have to apply by August 18th, but we don't have to have the projects specified, which is kind of a very interesting way to do it. In fact, this town is eligible for $200,000, more or less, and towns usually receive the money within 1 to 2 weeks after the grant application goes in, and we have to keep it separate in a separate account and come up with a project to use it on. And I think there are some projects that we're thinking of. We certainly can probably use it for White Plains. And I'm sure we can come up with something else.
Now-
It's a very, I've watched the video that tells you how to apply for it 3 or 4 times, and every time I do, I'm less sure of how to do it. But we do have a representative. So I guess I'm saying this for department heads as well, just so you know, it's changed a little bit. But, yeah.
We may see about putting in for an exoust system for the public safety building.
Okay, those are the types of things.
Because
Yeah.
we talked about that, it's in the CIP, and actually, the gentleman that Rob was dealing with when he was the chief reached out to me this spring, and he met with Phil and I at the station, and he went over everything again, and he just updated the whole cost and the whole thing again, and actually, he just mailed all that stuff, the quote, and everything that he needs is in a vanilla envelope at the fire station, and maybe I'll just hand that.
We, also, you can hire someone to work in the grant for you, to keep
Mhm.
track of the bookkeeping of the grant. I don't think we need to do that, but grant work, it's not just free money. There's a lot of backup.
It's
that you
A
have
lot
to
of
do.
time consuming. You
So
might want to
it's-
consider that.
But, maybe we could look to see, that might be another use for it. Anyway, so I thought that was good news. I've never heard of a grant where they just send you the money first, but then they say they yank it back if you don't use it, but.
I think there was a town that abuts us that got a couple $100,000 a couple of months ago, and they bought their new washer and dryer with that, and a bunch of stuff at the
Was it under the same grant, do you think? Yeah.
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but,
Because some towns have gotten their money.
Yeah.
And we have to the 18th to apply.
You're gonna apply?
Do you think I should?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, of course we are, yeah. The next thing, we did receive a letter today from New Hampshire DOT regarding the block grant. $70,295, which is less than we got last year, a little bit less. And I don't know why it goes on the state revenues and how they calculate it, but
I know in the budgeting process for this year, we had expected it to go down. Did it go down the amount we expected, or?
I think we're in that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, because I think it's close.
Yeah, so I think that it is in that range. The other thing, I report monthly, now that we have the select board meetings and the payroll and accounts payable schedule doesn't always mesh. And you have signed these orders, so you know this, so but bear with me. I'd like to just say we had 2 payrolls in July. One was on the 12th, and that was $20,092.83. That included the fire department officers. $1,647.67, and that is really an average payroll for the rest of the staff. So, nothing unusual there. We had both of those dates, we had an accounts payable run. The 12th, we had a run of $343,512.01, most of which was the payment to Merrimack District School for $296,251. And then we also paid our second quarter to the town of Hopkinton for the transfer station, $30,000. And if you haven't had a chance, if you wanted to look at the bills or something, I have them with me. Last accounts payable, the accounts payable total was $68,557.78. Noted in there is the bond payment for the public safety building, $42,000. That bond has one more year to go, and in August 15th of 2022, it will be completed. So we have one, exactly, just about one.
Celebrate.
Yeah,
And
celebrate,
why
big
do we
party.
have one?
Because they bonded it instead of paying it right up front in the beginning.
Yeah.
When you built it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It started off at $805,000.
I think it was 10 years, is it 10 years?
No, 15, it's gonna be 15, yeah, it's
Because
gonna
I
be.
know at one time it was always like 20 or something years, and we cut it back to save on the interest rate.
We did have one other small accounts payable thing for $220.48, which was the police department's telephone bill, because I pushed the button before I entered it in the computer. Which you shouldn't do, so I had to run a whole new warning for that, and again, I have the backup here if you're interested in that. I guess that's all I have. Russ, do you have anything to add to that?
So now about Ross, if I may. Well, a young man that been doing some things at the town hall that you've been helping, just told me how nice of a person you were and how well it was and how nice it was to work with somebody. And he said you were a good young man and very helpful. And I just wanted to pass, I hear good things, I pass it on. So, I'm
Like it
sorry.
should be, right?
Yes.
Right? You know, you do your job and you be good and nice to people.
It's
It's
nice
not.
when people can be
Yeah.
thankful because
Yeah.
we're doing good jobs.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I would
That's
agree with
awesome.
that. Russ is very helpful.
All right.
So, I did hear that and it was good, and so I just wanted to pass it on.
All right, so that moves us off of appointments and into our old business, which starts with town properties. So I'm going to start here, and I was kind of assuming we would have our usual residents here, but as we head into our discussion regarding town properties, I would like to first thank Mr. Pearson for bringing up the issue of public hearings at our last meeting. I generally deep dived into all of the details, but thought my original knowledge was already correct, for which I apologize to everybody for in this instance. My original knowledge came from reading the policy, which we were following, and discussions with the prior town administration and chairwoman from back when they were here. It was said at the time that we were okay to just follow the policy. And they were right, as public hearings had been held on those lands that required it and were in the list with recommendations as requested from the Conservation Commission and Planning Board. But that was only for the lands we currently owned at that time, or that would become tax deeded. While two of the three properties merged into the last property bid already went through that full process and did not require a public hearing, the last one had been a gift to the town, accepted more recently, and it does need to go through that process. Fortunately, no deed transfer has yet taken place, and after consultation with town council, we are able to not walk back any of the decisions we have done so far, but proceed with the public hearings and recommendation process for the new property in question before deciding if we must reconsider those prior decisions or not. believe our current town administrator has more information on this to share.
He does?
Who's he?
I did speak with the attorney about this, and basically that is really one lot now because we merged that prior to this transaction. We are scheduling the first public hearing. We need to have comments from the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board. We're scheduled the first public hearing for the next meeting, the August 16th. Go forward. There is a question on the hearings that were held in 2017, if they were still valid, but we're addressing it with this upcoming one. I had asked the attorney today, he said to me the other day that it was only so many, and I can't remember what he told me as far as how old it was before, but it was 4 years ago, so I can see why. So we might as well just do a new one. And so that will cure the problem.
All right.
Good to me.
And I believe you have other town property updates.
I do. On Mount Vernon Drive, we've talked about this before, and I've been dragging my feet, so I would like to get that going. We had spoken about how we were going to advertise Mount Vernon Drive. Were we going to put ads out in the Concord Monitor, for example? Were we going to put an ad on the website and the Grapevine? How should we market this? And should we start with doing the Grapevine and the website and see what happens? Should we?
Is there any rules to where we have to?
We
Or
can.
can we do it on the website and with the Grapevine, which is?
Yeah, yes, you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. We don't
But I
have
guess
to do it
I'm
on
trying to
Monitor?
figure out.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
wondering.
What I'm
trying to
looking is, how do you want to start advertising this property?
The process is the same as everything else that we've been dealing with, in which case we can just declare an open bid and accept the bids.
This
the
does not need a public hearing. This is a
the
tax.
key for this is being that it's more expensive, and it's probably not a pickup from an abutter, is
That's
will
where you might
we
want-
get people saying, oh, I want to do that, unless there's further advertising to get more eyes knowing that it's there. That's
So,
really
and that's
what
why,
the question
and
is.
that might be why you put it in the Concord Monitor to get people that don't get the Grapevine.
We, when I spoke with you before, I had done the calculation of the of the lost taxes, et cetera. It was about 65,000, which, obviously you can't buy much of a house with 65,000. This property is worth that. Although I don't think, unless you have the cash, I think it would be questionable whether you get a loan to help you buy it.
Why is that? Because it's in a bad shape? Okay.
Well, I say that we advertise it.
It's a very nice
in the
lot.
paper too. You know what I mean? Like the Grapevine's good for the local people, but you know, if we want to reach anybody else, we probably, I mean, do we put it in a Kearsarge shopper too?
You could.
I'm just saying you could reach, you know.
I
think
know what you mean, and I'm thinking.
It's not that
versus
the
like
Grapevine doesn't reach people, but it's not gonna reach.
No, I
Yeah.
understand it, I'm just thinking, or give it to a real estate dealer, but, because we do have some good real estate dealers in Webster. But the other things, then we have to pay commission, and so I think the way, my personal opinion, because I kind of follow it, real estate, we should be able to sell it ourselves.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
because it's going so fast, it's unbelievable.
So if we were to put advertisement in like the Concord Monitor,
Yeah,
and I think the Kearsarge shopper, the Grapevine.
yeah.
And the other
maybe-
associated.
I have two.
Yeah,
other
'cause you
things.
have the two,
Boston
right?
too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense?
Could we web post it too on like realtor.com and stuff like that?
If you know how to do it, sure.
I was gonna say, I don't know, I have
Go
no
for
I don't know
idea.
what the cost is for that.
Yeah,
What
I'm
they're
pretty
doing.
sure there's a cost associated with that, because it's all,
The cost for putting the ad.
it's all realtor association
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Why don't we just try it ourselves? I mean, I think we should be able to sell
But
it,
I
you
mean,
know?
we're doing a where is as is
Yeah,
thing.
fixer up type thing.
Because the deed isn't anything interesting either, so.
And this is my job, however, it is gonna take a lot of my time if I have to show this property.
Didn't think about that.
Which obviously, I'd wanna see the property if I was thinking of buying it.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
I don't mind doing that, I'm just saying, in the ad, I'm gonna just put what times, if an appointment might be available.
Well, I think you could definitely narrow it down and
Yeah,
people will
I
show
mean,
up
they
when
could
you're
just
supposed to, but
contact.
are you all right with that?
Right,
Oh, I'm pretty flexible, but.
But you could just have them call, and then it's like anything else, you know, if you're.
Yeah, we'll
busy,
just
you're busy.
find a time that works and schedule it. then.
Okay, so we're doing Concord Monitor, Grapevine, Boston,
Boston,
and
yeah,
Salisbury.
Boston's, yep, Salisbury. Salisbury just went out. I could do it in Webster this time if you hurry up.
Oh.
I'm working on Webster.
It will only take me only 3 weeks. No, I was gonna do it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I'll have time. I've got one page done. I got about, many more to go.
Okay.
So you'll let us know in about 5 years?
Yeah.
Kearsarge Shopper,
And Kearsarge Shopper.
I think that grabs,
Yeah,
the
that's
Lake
a lot.
region.
Is that
you got
out of
some-
New London?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but it covers like Bradford, Warner, New London.
I don't know if is that still delivered now, or is it a pickup? Because we don't get it. Is
We-
it delivered to your house?
No, so like my family that lives in Warner gets it, but
Oh,
no,
okay.
us in Webster do not.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Yeah.
think that it's important to.
Yeah, no, I think,
Yeah.
I don't usually see.
And I think the
those.
Concord Monitor's a those local paper.
Yeah.
So, and they're not cheap to advertise in.
Yeah.
but-
They're not.
Yeah.
But
That'd
you
be
could just
couple
put it in a
$100.
classified ad, you don't have to have a display ad. So it would be cheap, it's only a couple of bucks, I would think, at the monitor, unless they changed a lot.
Well, it always seems like anytime I wanna run a house ad, it's a couple $100,
Well,
but
we-
that's
we-
okay.
Yeah, and
We
it's
run the
different
planning
than-
board notices when we used to do that. What was it,
Yeah.
$100 or?
It's like 100.
Yeah.
It's
For
like
what?
$100 to $200.
Yeah, but that's because you have to have so big, you have to have all kinds of stuff if you're doing a planning board thing,
Well,
aren't
gee,
you?
we
Like,
wanna be on the front page.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah.
I would send it, I
Generally-
would definitely, I think to get that, I think that way you're covering your Concord, you know, that side of the world, you got your Kearsarge Shopper, and then you got your local paper here, and I think that's perfect.
Okay, I'll work with the Concord Monitor and see.
I mean, I don't know
what
what
we
best,
can do.
that's
yeah,
fine.
just
Yeah.
get them down there a little.
Yeah.
And we should be able to take some pictures and stick up a page on our website for it, so that we can just include that information in any of the advertisements, and then people can look without even having to
Tour.
bring it in.
Huh?
You do a virtual tour.
I could be like a real estate agent, you know, and fix
Well,
up
I don't
a
want
picture
to
so it
go
doesn't.
too overboard,
But
Yes,
wait,
we're
so
not-
what do you think
but they should
that,
at least know.
what
the
is that web
concept.
thing though you were talking about? What is that?
For,
If you want to list property through
they have like Realtor.com, Zillow. all
Zillow,
those.
yeah, so what does that cost?
I don't know. I would have to look into it.
I mean, do we want to look into that? There's some
If
people
it's
that are
free.
just
Might as- yeah.
tech savvy, not me, but lots of people, that's what, even like, one of my kids just found property and purchased it, and
Yeah.
off we went.
Yeah, it's all MLS based.
Yeah.
And
I think
there's
something
usually
Zillow.
like a fee to access it as some sort of hosting. And
But I think it's not tons of money.
Well, like I said, it's worth looking at. to
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
what it costs. And
And
if it's minimal,
we-
and Craigslist is free.
and
That's
we-
right.
We also have some somewhat friendly realtors to the town, so it might be possible for, I think he's probably got the best connections with
Yeah,
them.
oh, yeah,
To see if, once we have something, if they would put up an advertisement saying, hey, this is here, sort of thing. I don't know if that's kosher or not, but,
I think once it hits,
yeah.
I mean, people are watching property and houses.
that's the thing, it's
supposedly.
gonna go crazy, right, exactly.
And then
so.
we're gonna have to give him a raise. Data's gonna want a percentage of that, I mean,
Yeah,
Russ is gonna want
My
a percentage of that,
commission,
yeah.
absolutely. Okay, all right, I think I have some direction for you, John. People have told me before.
I'm being
Um,
nice. Listen, you laugh at us.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I think that is, we're also looking at other properties down in Pillsbury Lake that would be available for sale. Russ has done a little work on that.
I put a
Put in your
list
packet.
of abutting lots in Pillsbury Lake.
Abutting lots and lots that are available.
Now, the only thing I wonder about is, what do you think you're gonna ask for that house?
For Mount Vernon
Mount
Drive?
Vernon, yeah.
Well, that's, I mean, it's up to the board what they're gonna take for it. I suggested to you 65,000. But you tell me, I mean.
Well, I was just wondering if I could connive somebody to go, some realtor to go over there and look and give us an idea how much it's worth.
If you could drop a dime and call
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
Teach fast the assessors too.
I think it would be better
The
than,
what, I'm sorry, what
The
did you say?
assessors.
What assessors?
Our
Our assessors. Oh,
well, our assessors, I don't know if they would give you what they would use as a sale price because they have an assessment on it, but,
Yeah.
I mean,
Assessment cost and sale price are unfortunately a bit different than,
you know, we
how
can
you
ask
decide.
them, but they're gonna say that their card that they have is perfect.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
so
Yeah.
why ask, right? Yeah. So what does the assessor's card say? Or he doesn't have
I'm
it
sorry, I
written
don't
down?
know it, but it's like 100-something thousand.
I was
I mean,
gonna
the
say
lot
s-
alone is well worth the 65.
Yeah, well, we're not in the business, we
But-
make money on this, right? Or the town has to give it all to somebody?
No, this is
Was it-
all the
This,
town.
this
the
is
tax
back in
deed.
lost taxes and amount that has been spent, for example, cleaning up all the trash.
Right, but
et
if
cetera.
we sell it
That's where
for,
the 65,000 comes.
but if we sell it for like 150, does the town keep the swing 65 and, no, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Where does the
Yeah.
money go if you get 100 for it?
The former owner,
Gets the money.
Into an escrow that the former owner can
right,
claim.
Okay.
yeah.
So then it's
Not
not
the
to our
total.
benefit in a way.
It's to our benefit to sell it.
Sell it
at
at
after
60,
65
right.
to get it right
Right.
in actuals.
Okay, so forget, I'm not gonna ask the realtor to give me a price. So,
Yeah, 'cause some of them are 65, probably 125 right now.
so,
Yeah, I mean, the lot itself is worth more than that according to the assessor's tax cards. I don't remember what it said. I want to say it was about 68. And then there's the house, but most of the bones of the house look reasonable when we went and looked at it. Everything in it, it's going to need the complete treatment of like tear off the walls and put up new drywall and all that sort
But
of
it looks
stuff.
like the place is,
And
you could transfer it to be livable, you don't have to tear it down and start over.
Correct.
like the
Yeah.
bathroom was
You
worse.
would need to, well, we didn't try that. The
Well,
utilities aren't on.
No, but I'm sure that it's probably not wrecked.
There were a couple things that, utility-wise, I think there was some, a pipe or two that looked like it had leaked, but,
What is the address in my notes here?
18.
18
Mount Vernon Drive.
And the deck, for the main/second floor, the flooring of it was, a bit more suspect than the deck out back here. So we definitely, as a purchaser, want to redo that, to make it safe to walk on.
How many acres is that?
It's not quite an acre.
Oh,
For Pillsbury Lake, it's
Yeah.
quite
It's a
large.
good lot, yeah, really.
But, so yeah, it's,
what a great starter home for somebody
If-
though.
Right, exactly.
if someone
It would be
has
big as
either
a
the
sweat
know-how
equity.
to do it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the desire to flip it, either one is gonna make out really well with that house.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna just move it.
No, but
It's not gonna work that way,
Yeah,
so.
we've all done this, whatever.
All right, so if you can get something to me, I'll put it in my paper tomorrow, just something, even if it's a little thing. Okay. You never know.
If not,
I
she's
know
gonna tell us.
Yeah.
Then I get the commission, no.
Right.
So next up, unless you have other town property stuff,
I don't think so.
did you wanna talk about I know you brought it up, the other Pillsbury Lake options? Do you wanna talk about that? Or is that not really ready for full discussion yet?
I just highlighted which ones are abutting, the ones that are highlighting those aren't ones that are taken by tax collector deeds.
Is that this thing?
That's the map
The
for the
second
abutting
page of
lots.
that.
That map fee was just to show you that you can send notices to the proper abutters for
Okay.
Windsor Terrace.
And
Oh, okay.
the red dots are.
You mean we were,
So what's the
questioning
AR
last
Yes.
week.
Abbey Rockefeller
Oh,
So they're,
okay.
it's actually one lot away from hers.
Yeah.
So where's Addie's?
Everywhere
Me
else.
too.
No.
And
I
which
just
one
want
did
to
we
kind
sell?
of,
These three.
what does that
Oh, the
mean?
ones with the green dots.
Yeah, so they're one off from it.
Yeah.
So
I have a
we're
list
fine. We
behind
did,
it.
And believe me, she's.
our administration did do things correctly.
Yay!
Yeah, good.
And the
good
one
deal.
behind it is just a list of all the abutting lots if we wanted to do a merger.
Okay, yeah.
The
all right.
highlighted ones were ones that were not taken by tax collector deed, so those might require additional process in order to sell. And the ones that circled there, they're in conservation, so there are 2 lots in Pillsbury Lakes in conservation
So
easements.
you mean the green ones, you mean, or what circle? What are you talking about, circle?
On the list, where's
The list.
I don't see any circles.
I have a list, I
Oh,
don't see a circle.
C,
Ah.
C's conservation
conservation.
easement.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right.
Circled in on mine and Dana's.
We'll forgive you.
He has to circle it for me. So we're not quite ready to go forward with that. I think we also need to show you the decision from the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board 2017.
Okay,
Sounds good.
next item.
All right, so next is the review of town policies, which we had said last time that we wanted to do a work session to go over them, and then neglected to actually schedule said work session. So basically, we just need to schedule that work session to go over our policies.
Can we do that in September?
Yes, that's what I'm gonna vote for too.
We have one go, once.
The one in September, yeah.
September, yeah.
Review the.
That was
the
late in
minutes.
September, I think.
Sealed minutes was the end of September, September 27th.
Yes.
So we can do it earlier in September.
So early September is typically when I'm doing everything, because all of our birthdays and the whole 9
Why, you
yards
celebrate
of
birthdays?
Septembers. Yeah.
That mean we have a party?
We'll bring a cake.
Hey, okay.
I don't bring
Um,
cakes, but we won't say what I know, I'm just kidding.
We could probably look at the,
We don't have to have a Monday if you don't wanna do a Monday. Doesn't
well,
matter.
okay, well, so we've got, I don't want to pack too many things in all at one time.
Oh my god.
There's, but, like, so we were meeting at 3:30 on the 27th for the other sealed minutes.
Yeah.
We could, there's like the 28th, the 29th, or even the
You wanna go to
30th would probably
October?
be okay with me.
Can, remind me when we're meeting to, about the seal minutes again?
27th, 3:30. 27th of September.
Yeah.
So all your big things are in the beginning of September, I take it.
Yeah, and then I have a large race right in the middle
Oh.
that I have to go do.
Ah.
So the like anytime if we wanted to do the 28th, 29th, 30th, or go into October, any of those are fine.
How about going into the beginning of October?
Let's take a look. I'm basically fine with anything there. Note that October 11th, Monday, which is the second Monday, so not one of our scheduled meetings, is Columbus Day, or Indigenous Peoples Day.
Oh, we should do it that day.
Um,
No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, whatever.
But pretty much anything else in October is going to be fine with me.
Pick a date, any date.
Yeah. Chair.
How about Tuesday the 5th?
Ah, sounds great. October 5th at 3:30.
We can probably make that work. This one may be a little bit longer of a session, just
Start
because
at
there's
3?
so many policies.
Well, we don't have to complete every one of them if we get hung up.
True.
How about 3?
Three? Ah.
All right. So that'll be.
So how many
No,
calls?
will you guys be there for that, or is just us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, does that work for you guys?
Of course.
Tuesday and Thursday, it's
They love us, come on.
I know, we're so much fun, that's why.
Tuesday is the office close day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Usually we're sleeping by
So
then.
we shouldn't have, we
I
shouldn't
wake you
have
up
lots
every
of
day,
people
come on.
walking in expecting normal services then, so.
But that, we can also.
That works out well, doesn't it?
Printing at it, we can select a number of policies to review for that date ahead of time.
And get them to you so you can read them and think about them.
Well, that's a good idea.
I mean, we've already given you 5, maybe we can do another 5 session or something like that.
You gave us 5 the last time.
Yeah, I can resend it.
It was just the first 5 on the
Well,
website, so.
I was carrying that around, I should have looked through it. I said, oh.
That's fine.
It's more fun carrying it around.
Yeah, well, I was like, why am I carrying this around? It's like I knew not to just, recycle it,
Mhm.
but I did, so sorry.
We can solve that problem very
Right.
easily.
Hey, Echo, what happened to our audience? Disappeared.
We're not in.
It must have been boring.
I guess not.
While you're talking about scheduling, Dave,
Yes.
would this be a good time to ask about scheduling a work session to meet with members of the Fire Association?
Oh, yes, so this would actually be the first of the budget starting stuff to talk about the stipends for the fire department. And that would include the Fire Association, who apparently have some things they want us to address as far as the stipends are concerned, as well as Emmett and Company to talk about what is appropriate and how we need to look at that towards budgeting. Because that has been neglected in the past several years.
Stipends is payment to people.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the
Voluntary,
volunteer
yeah,
side.
okay.
So, what is the fire association? You mean the members of our fire department, or is this the big association like the state?
This is some of the members of our fire department. So there's fire department and there's also a fire association.
Oh, okay,
The
that's something new, I didn't
association
realize
is,
they had one.
The short version is the fire association is kind of like the nonprofit section. So they're the ones that can take, for example, donations for being able to use for things from like the chicken dinners, for example. So they're the ones that can accept the money.
Okay, so that's different.
And then they've got other stuff where like they recommend people and so on and so forth. They're two separate entities, but they're all our fire department.
Okay, all right, that's a new term.
So, when do you want to start looking at the budget, I guess is the question.
You're not new at this one, either.
Well, the budget sooner rather than later is always good, but,
But I don't think we should do it in August.
no. August is,
We're already to October.
Yeah.
when do you think we'll start looking at all of the other budgetary portions? I know you kind of wanted to do that sooner than we did last year.
When would you like us to be looking at it?
I usually think if you start in October, that's probably a good time, because a lot of the figures that we need to prepare the budget, I don't have from the insurance company yet.
Until then.
Things like that.
And when you're just getting started with the CIP.
You know, I think in this case, there were some questions regarding the stipends at the fire department. And so I would suggest that you meet sooner rather than later on this one. And so that we can go forward.
Maybe like the following week, the 5th of October?
We can just do it the 5th of October, or
Wait, well, that's fine, I'm fine with that.
Well, that's the policy thing, is the 5th.
there.
Oh,
I just
what's
think that
more important?
I guess which one would be,
I mean, policy's been hanging around for a long time, and nobody's gonna miss it if we don't go out with it.
And pretty much what we're doing on those is we're just reviewing them to make sure they see.
It's just a project. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
have a drop dead date on it.
And you were gonna put them in a book, so that,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like.
so why don't we move the policies from the 5th to the 12th and the week after, and then do the 5th of October as the
Stipend.
stipends.
Stipend, okay. And budget type things. the other one on the 12th gonna be at 3?
Might as well.
Yeah, okay.
We'll be consistent now, we won't forget.
That's right, yeah, right.
Work sessions are 3.
What was that?
I said work sessions are at 3.
You'd just love to see us in the
Taking so much
daytime.
time
You
getting
go
ready.
home at a
See,
decent hour.
when does it matter for you?
Yeah, we're really smart, we bring in
The cookie
cookies
after
or
someone was sleeping,
snacks.
but that's later and
I've
later,
got
so.
caught down
You
there.
don't-
Anytime
Too
you
late, I
need,
just-
because then we're not conflicting with work schedules.
Wouldn't bother
Because
me.
But we can make
she's
this
trying
work.
to do her job and you're taking,
Yeah.
yeah.
But this isn't all the time, so we can make it work.
We don't want you to get into trouble.
It's not like, it's not like previous times where we were doing it like 3 days out of the week, every week.
Oh, okay, so but October, what's the, October what?
Fifth.
Fifth
What's the
and then
first
the
one?
For
12th.
the stipends and the 12th for the policies.
Policies.
At 3 in the afternoon.
Good.
Snacks? No, I'm just kidding.
What was that?
I said snacks.
I think snacks, I was saying
Snacks sound good.
Snacks sound good. And I like cooking in the winter when it's cooler. I'm not a, I like, maybe I'll really surprise people. I can't
All
know
the
it.
books and stuff.
I'm a boy.
What was that?
Maureen sent some brownies today. They'll probably be still good.
Oh, wow.
We'll just put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Freezer
I'll bake a
brownies are
loaf of
great.
bread.
Yeah.
All right, so that moves us to new business. We had a question about the library, and since we had our policy of streaming all of the 91A meetings, that was going to then include the library. And they had the question of, does this really include the library? Which it doesn't sound like we need to answer that question anymore, because they voted unanimously to just start streaming them anyway. So we have the equipment, they think it's a great idea, and so they're just gonna be doing it.
Okay,
Thank you,
sounds good to
library.
me.
Thank
Yeah.
you for making our jobs
Yeah,
easier.
that's
And
right.
this meeting shorter. Which moves us on to abatements. So there are 2 sets of them. We'll start with campers. And this will be Russ to talk about the abatements.
Yep, so we just, Karen was going over with the owner of Cozy Pond over the outstanding tax bills, and these lists came up with ones that the campers have moved on, or the list wasn't accurate to what was in her system. So this is just to rectify that and get rid of some of the bills that shouldn't have gone out.
I have a question, so if you have a camper, you get like a tax if you're stationed for more than probably a certain amount of days, is that how it works?
So if it's there on April 1st, and if it's not registered.
And not registered.
And
Not
it doesn't
registered,
have
and
a
if you
gap.
move it on it, what if you move it on April 2nd?
So if you moved in on April 2nd, you wouldn't get taxed until it was there the next year.
Okay,
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
so, okay.
However, mistakes do happen, which is why we end up having to move it.
So more or less, here, these people are no longer at the campground, and we got to get them off, we want to get them off our books, and there's really no way, and these are true amounts they owe.
Yes, those are from Karen.
Yeah, okay, and, but I mean, there's really, what would be the ramification to try to collect it? I mean, granted, I just was curious.
So it's kind of Karen's process to talk about the collection end.
Okay.
So I really handle
Here's the issue that Karen
Give it
would
to
have.
us.
As you know, she would have to place, if the taxes aren't paid, she would place a lien. And after 2 years, if the lien isn't satisfied, which is now makes it 3 years since the taxes haven't been paid, she can do a tax deed. In fact, she's working on tax deeds now. A camper, however, may not be in Webster in 3 years. And so it's
and there is a
kind
fee
of
every
a
time we
catch-22 situation, because we really probably couldn't recover this money.
Okay, just asking, got it.
Yeah, so they're already not there at this location, and so
Moving on, do we have to make a motion, or just sign it?
We've got a signature, so I think if you just sign it, that'd be great. I'll put it in your sign folder.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's coming along.
not the one here.
No,
They'll give us a bunch of stuff.
I'll
to
give you
sign.
the real copy.
Kind of like fresh.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to be able to look at
I
it.
know, I appreciate it, I do.
And the next abatement is,
I
God,
think we
who's
should
this
do
guy?
that one.
Yeah. Negative.
Payola, didn't they call it payola in the
This is
sixties?
actually a refund
Oh,
because the
refund.
taxes have been paid. So it's, this would give us permission to draw a check to the taxpayer.
We owe them interest?
no.
Let's not mention that.
Just kidding.
Theoretically, perhaps, but,
Yeah,
you know.
they'll donate that.
But we know this taxpayer is very reasonable.
It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
That's
I hope not.
You better not.
I'm going
Such
to
good neighbors.
put that in there, and one of you is not gonna sign it.
Good idea.
Yeah.
What did I do? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, so do we have to make motions or no?
Yeah.
Just-
Sign
this
away.
is it.
Yeah.
Sign away.
All right.
All right, moving on, correspondence, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
We
I
don't have
already
anything.
mentioned the one from the, I wanted to mention what Emmett was here,
The
the
DOT.
block grant, yeah.
Nice.
So that's great, and we have no public
Okay.
anymore, so there's no public comment, which moves us on to motions and approvals.
The draft minutes were reviewed by our resident English teacher, and we had several changes that we'd like to propose.
Call her the
Our
grammar
maid,
wizard.
Who's this?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Oh, yeah, of course it
Grammar
is.
wizard.
Thank you, Michelle.
So,
I would.
I have to say one thing before we did that. You took my advice.
I did.
I am impressed. But you can also do chairman in
I
front
know,
of
I
it.
forgot about
But
that
that's
one.
good, but isn't it easier this way? Well,
Now that when I copy and paste it, it'll
that's
be
it, that's
just
right,
as easy.
okay.
But we have some grammatical changes if you want to review them, because they might be the ones you point out to.
so I
have-
think it would be easier if I just passed this to you.
Yeah.
Rather than have
Okay.
me try to tell you, and then if you see anything unreasonable, you can.
Well, I have to say that
Is it in red?
It's
That's
in
in
green,
green.
which is really
I
unusual.
proofread this for the newspaper
Well, this is
already,
one of those
so
things, like-
mine is different from that anyway, so, but I did know the tariff thing that was one of the things I do remember. But that's not bad, but I read it all, so I proofread it, so.
You're very up to date on what's going on in the town of Webster.
Yeah, I know.
And Boston.
Better all
We try to
solves
review
it.
those, but
Pretty
Obviously.
much. I do have one that
There
will
was,
go on from this, because it's not just a grammatical thing.
there was one funny thing, but I can't remember what it was right now, that I saw.
Page 2, line 17 was the really funny one to me.
Uh-oh.
But
Oh,
it's in there, it's fixed.
Yeah,
Or I should
oh,
say
it's
it's.
fit, okay, yeah.
It's labeled as.
Confuse a conflict.
Oh.
Confuse a conflict, that's good. Confuse a conflict of interest.
Sometimes the formatting things goes on.
So what were you
When
saying,
switch it from
17,
numbers.
isn't that what were you trying to say?
Oh, no,
Be an
it was
expert.
this one.
Oh, imported, oh, okay.
Yeah, that should be important.
I like imported.
It is kind
I know. Why wouldn't we?
So,
No, I didn't think I even did.
my edit is page 5, line 9.
Did you
And
have a
that
red
is,
pen?
I can grab her blue pen.
All right, well, I like everything in red, but
Um,
go ahead.
It states that it's because it was a state-sanctioned facility, and it should really read that it's because it was a state-sanctioned residential facility. Because the key to that whole issue was that it is considered a residential residence.
Mm.
That a company services as opposed to a business.
Mm.
So that I think is a key word to add in there.
Okay. We can add that.
You're gonna make me change it. I don't know if I've picked that up or not.
Well, you got a whole new list now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
these ones haven't gone out yet. I have that. Oh.
So I would first. Are there any other amendments or changes? All right. I would move that we adopt the meeting minutes from Monday, July 19th, 2021 as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna do that. You wanna do it tomorrow?
Let's see. Oh,
Trustee?
trustees.
Yes, in front stuff.
All right. We move that we request the trustees of trust funds issue a check in the amount of $14,464.02 for invoice 349399-27 payable to VHB for professional engineering services for the Clothespin Bridge replacement project. These funds are to be withdrawn from the Bridge and Culvert Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We request that the trustees of trust funds issue a check in the amount of $7,016.40 payable to Bosco and Sand and Gravel for quarry pack for invoice P004905 in the amount of $3,328.46 and invoice P005010 in the amount of $3,687.94 for the road project on Concord Drive. These funds are to come from the Highways and Roads Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check in the amount of $30,205 payable to Fleece and Flower Fund for invoices 6476 for $2,280, invoice 6477 for $2,855, invoice 6478 for $2,797.50, and invoice 6479 for $3,285, invoice 6481 for $3,535, invoice 6482 for $3,620, invoice 6484 for $2,822.50, invoice 6485 for $3,720, invoice 6486 for $3,255, invoice 6488 for $1,480, invoice 6489 in the amount of $555. These funds are to come from the Highways and Roads Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that will conclude all of that. I would normally say, hey, let's end the public comment, end with the public comment for this portion. We are going to be signing the documents that we've mentioned already. However, we do have not a closing, but a non-public session to briefly go over some things. And that is to enter I would move to enter non-public session at 8:29 under RSA 91A, :3, 2C for contract negotiations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.